Welcome to another episode of What Even Is D&D. Today's episode, we're going to talk about flaws and imperfections. Now, I know a lot of people will want to play the game as if they're playing a video game. They want to build up a character that can just demolish anything that stands in their way. Now, that's one way to go, and that's fine if that's the way you want to play. Everybody has different play styles. Everybody's going to get something different out of the game. However, with playing up the flaws or the imperfections, it can let you really build on your character and just kind of complete them. You don't have to play somebody who has a bad charisma stat as just a horrible person that nobody wants to be around. You can play them as the brutish guy, the one who's just not very good talking to people. You can play somebody with a low dexterity, somebody who has 2 left feet, somebody who, like, Goofy. Yes, Goofy. He's charismatic. He seems to be strong when it counts. He's not the most dexterous, but he is wise. And he does have, going back to dexterous, he does have 2 left feet, and he has a strong constitution. You know how many times Goofy has been, blown up and, dropped down a hill or a mountain or something? He's resilient. But that's part of his character. You probably wouldn't love him as much as if he was smart, strong, fast, charismatic, all of it. If he was all of it, he'd be a boring character. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit the mic. And that's what I'm getting at here. Having somebody who has just perfect score across the board is just boring. So playing up your character's weaknesses can really enhance that character. I liked it in 3.5, and I don't mean to constantly go back on 3.5. There's a lot of stuff I like about 5th edition and some stuff I don't like about 3.5. I'd love it if they meshed a system together. In 3.5, you could choose your skills. In 5th edition, they're mostly chosen for you, depending on your abilities. And that's fine and dandy. That works out the way it does. But for the purposes of what I'm discussing, being bad at certain skills is another way to play it up too. Now, you can have proficiency in skills and stuff in 5th edition, but regardless, playing on your strengths and weaknesses, rounding out your character, it all just goes hand in hand. Another character to take inspiration or reference off of is Quasimodo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. He was obviously dexterous, strong, and he had a good constitution. He did not have the best charisma. Yes, he does have people that like him, but a lot of that was not at first glance. He had to build that up. He was not exactly smart or wise. And he wasn't exactly intelligent or wise. He was smart enough, He got by. But he was a lovable character, He did what's right. He had a good heart. And it was a lot of his flaws that made him who he was. I'm sure there's a ton of characters I could reference, like Jack Sparrow. If luck was an ability score, he would have a 20. But charisma, I'd say he has a high charisma. I wouldn't say he has a high strength. High constitution, probably. Dexterity. And he knew how to think his way out of a problem. But he was not strong. And everybody loves him. You don't have to be the awesome, charismatic hero to be a good character. There are lovable oafs. You don't even have to go to lovable. That's a great thing. You could go the hated or the necessary evil route, the anti-hero. Now, I will say, it is extremely difficult to play an evil character in Dungeons and Dragons, especially if you're in a group, because everybody that I've ever seen play. Now, it's not impossible, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who do play it well, but most people they just can't. Oh, I have to trick this guy out of his money. You know what? I'll get the next one. Got that conscience, can't quite. But that's why I say anti-hero. You don't have to be the good guy. You can be the, you know what? I do good in my own way, and you're gonna have to deal with it. But pick a character, and then build off of their flaws as well as their strengths. So, on that note, let's see who I've got. So I have this character I did up. Her name's Ruth. She's a cleric. She's a dwarf. She has no negatives in her modifiers for her abilities. But intelligence is her dump stat. She only has a 10. And her charisma and dexterity are her second lowest stats. Her highest stat is her wisdom, and her two second highest stats are constitution and strength. So she is strong, she is resilient, and she is clever. Now, with her intelligence being 10, we could make her forgetful. We could make her, let's see, what is intelligence? Intelligence measures mental acuity, accuracy of recall, and the ability to reason. So maybe we could make her to where she is kind of, once she sets her mind to something, you can't really reason with her. But she is super clever. So she can come up with some really good ideas. But the reasoning behind them aren't always that great. She's sturdy and headstrong. And her charisma's okay. So she probably has one of those like, I hate that she's right and I like it. Like, just go with it. Her dexterity's all right. So, it's one of those things you toss something to her and she could be like, got it. It doesn't have to be anything too severe. You can just build it up. Let's see who else I got. I'll do one more. Let's see. I have Dice. He is a Lightfoot halfling rogue. So, about Dice. His highest stat is his dexterity. He has a +3. It's a 17. His modifier is +3. His dump stats are Constitution and Wisdom, which he both has 10s. He has a 14 Intelligence, which gives him a +2, a +1 to Charisma, which is a 12, and a +1 to Strength, which is a 12. So, thinking of how we play him. Well, he's got a good memory. He can recall things really well, and he can reason things out. But he's not clever. Right off the bat, I'm thinking, he's like, hey, you remember, we made that bet. You owe me. So we got to do this. but he probably doesn't have any great ideas of his own very often. Low wisdom. His dexterity's good, so he's balancing a dagger on his finger all the time, when he's bored. He's alright charismatically, and his strength, it's alright. But he cannot take a hit to save his life. In fact, I can picture him, sick half the time. And not able to hold his liquor at all. He probably gets drunk after one drink. So that's a good way to play up the character. You could go into their skills too and see where they're not very good. Like he has a 0 to perception. He doesn't see anything coming. And animal handling, he also has a 0, Easy boy. Then there's medicine. Another 0. What am I supposed to do? Just put pressure on the wound. Here? No, on the wound. He doesn't have to be bad, but playing up these flaws and these downsides, the imperfections, really helps flesh out the character and give you a fuller picture of who they are. And it's fun too, figuring that out. It's exciting. He has a passive perception of 10, and so a lot gets by him. He has a horrible constitution saving throw. So like I said, he can't hold his liquor. Or, if he eats some bad cheese, it doesn't go well. But regardless, it's really fun just to flesh these characters out, honestly. If you don't know what kind of character you want, but you do know the class you want, you can build according to their class. Like, okay, especially if you do a point buy system, or even if you do the dice and sorry, I didn't mean to hit the mic. Even if you do the dice and put them in the right places, building them based on where that goes can really help. You can flesh them out and figure out who they are, or you can build the opposite way too. But that is going to have to be it for this episode of What Even Is D&D. So, if you guys like this, please like and subscribe. And down in the description area, yeah, that's the word, there is going to be my linkage, and my Discord's there if you want to become a member of the community. And if you haven't watched from the beginning, I would recommend, if you want to learn more, jumping on the playlist that's going to pop up somewhere around here in a second. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. You can put them in the description, throw them in the Discord if you join, or wherever else. I will be sure to do my best to answer to the best of my abilities. But yes, playlist, you can start from the beginning if you want. I'd recommend it. And there will be a video somewhere here, I don't know, recommended, as well as the subscribe button. Thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you for the next episode of What Even Is D&D.